Thank you, Mr. President. I rise today to speak briefly about what occurred yesterday on the Senate floor. It was a moment where the United States Senate and House of Representatives overrode a veto in order to ensure that the victims of 9/11 had an outlet, if you will, to try to seek justice and compensation. It was not as satisfactory as most in this body would hope. And I'm hopeful that over the course of time between now and the lame duck or shortly thereafter, we'll have a way to rectify some of the issues that concern us. I do want to say, and I don't think many members are aware of this, but Senator Cardin and myself attempted throughout the weekend to set up a meeting with the White House to go over options that could in fact be more beneficial to our country and at the same time give some justice to the people of 9/11. I think many people here know there were also Saudi officials here seeking to try to come up with some option that might work better than the option that we all opted for with none other available yesterday. We were unable to get the President to convene a meeting. We had hoped with the Secretary of State, who had a couple of conversations with Secretary Kerry, but also I had conversations directly with the White House to set up a meeting between the President and Secretary Kerry, but of course Leader McConnell, Leader Reid, Ben Cardin and myself, but also the two major sponsors of the bill. And the purpose was to see if there were issues with the bill that we voted on yesterday, was there a better route? Was there another option that we could consider? And could we develop a time frame where that could be considered to take us to an improvement over where we were yesterday? For reasons that still are unknown to me, that was not achievable. There was no desire whatsoever to sit down and meet. I'm unaware of any meetings that took place to try to resolve this issue. My friends on the other side of the aisle mentioned that they did have a letter read to them at lunch one day regarding the President's views. But now we've passed a bill. In fact, the victims of 9/11, who many of us have met with, have now an outlet to try to seek justice. And I think there's a desire, as was written yesterday in a letter, and many senators here signed, and many others have come up and discussed, there's a desire to amend what occurred yesterday to put us in a better place. So it's my hope, now that we have a piece of legislation that has become law, that maybe the executive branch, who, by the way, we tried to get to engage in this issue over the entire year, this last year, for us to sit down and figure out an option that might work a little better than what passed yesterday on the floor. That hasn't occurred. There just has been no engagement. Even at the last minute, with the first veto override facing the administration, there was just an unwillingness to sit down and discuss routes that can take us to a better place. So I know there's a desire on the House side. I know there's a desire in this body, as was widely expressed yesterday. There's a desire, no doubt, for the victims to be able to get the answers to the questions that they've had and to seek in their minds justice. There is a desire for that. But there's also a desire to do so in a manner that will not possibly undermine other equities that the United States government and our people have. So I'm hopeful that over the course of the next 6 weeks, I know last night had a discussion with a Saudi official who I know is desirous of sitting down and pursuing that, as they have been over the course of the last week. I hope now that this has become law, the administration will be willing to do the same. My sense is, with some of the comments that are going to be made publicly and just some of the back and forth that will occur over the next 6 weeks, I'm hopeful the major sponsors of this bill, who are leaders in this body, will be willing to do that. and that we'll be able to create some alterations that unfortunately were not available to us yesterday to cause this piece of legislation to better serve U.S. national interest. With that, Mr. President, I note the absence of a quorum.